Hello, everybody. Are you guys home? Welcome to Binto Media Network. As usual, I am home again. I am home with a whole lot of blessings. Okay. This is the one you can't even say anything much, So I have our special guest here. Binto Media Network, we are welcoming everybody come home as usual on Sunday. Our discussion, grassroots discussion, national issue, nothing personal, respect. That's our motto. We have our special guest. We are running late a little bit, but we are sorry. Connection from home wasn't easy, but he's here. let me introduce him first. I am just so excited. This is our legendary. Mr. Malek Jones is in the building. That's all I can say. He is the voice. He's been the voice since in the 80s. He inspired young generations after generations after generations. I call him Jones of the mic. He his personal contribution to Gambian media, his personal contribution to the international media we are just humbled to have him. That's all I can say. I'm here with my co-host, Malik, as usual. We are a bit late, so we are up. I'm excited. Mbe mobe control tol control. Yalo ne ninkali ko ngaman satala tentule ngambulo werendende santo bi fana wultala wala na ninna big smile. Nganna alfale samba nanjang. Niya moy Mike, niya moy Kumala, niya moy ay banko do ku molie kibaro la abunda be a footballonte abantala banko mume atelem na tele soto jam Mr. Malek Jones biri nga kumandi nkago uncle ile akonyem fele mbinala le so solaso nga tentu nga jayi nga ala tentu mbasa malana mbe kamol bele trial bi abe English fola be surwa kan fola ntol abele bijang so respect ko wala bali jang ali nana ko taken nali kacha mbe kacha ken de bale kala jang mbe le flalo natala lo tunku mo minute no biri 1980s abe media aka kibarol kenu aka electional karte fay wala results atele ka karannu aka aya jamale ke aya kenken bari nyinanta lafta nyinin kala wala baker ala baraka. We are welcome again. Sir,
go ahead.
Alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm all yours.
Mr. Jones, I cannot stop smiling. Welcome to Binto Media Network. We call ourselves grassroots. We lack that education when it comes to politics. Let's say, especially this analysis. What happened? We've been here for a few years now. We go over national issues. We don't do anything personal. But today, the lecturer here is unbelievable. We are grateful to have you. I'm humbled personally. So you are welcome to Binto Media Network.
Pleasure to be with you. I'm all yours, like I said. And to hear from my friend very shortly, Malik, where he used to have a column on my newspaper, the Gambia Today. And when I was told that he is in the US, I said, no problem. The guy must be still doing some media thing, and I'm delighted that he's your co-host.
Yes. Daba, you can welcome our guest, and then we move on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Binto. And it's always a pleasure coming back every Sunday and to talk about national issues. Today, I think Malik is one of the legends of Gambian media and Gambian journalism. And I think his experience and knowledge is something that a lot of young people who has the passion to get into the media would need to learn from. Because usually such careers are not careers that people go on for a very long time. And I think he's one person that has, marked almost every generation, because if you look at the people that he started doing journalism with, a lot of them are no more in the field, but he still keep going. So maybe we would want to know what keeps him going and what motivates him every day to wake up and, or wanting to do what he's so much passionate about. And one thing also we need to remember is I think he was the first Gambian to comment during the World Cup. And that
Yes.
is something, a piece of history that I think a lot of Gambian, especially the young people, need to
Yeah.
know. And I think it's something that he has experience about. With regards to the issue that we are discussing today, like elections, I think we have seen over the years he has been on JRTS and then analyzing how the results while the IEC announces it, and I think he can tell us a lot. What is the difference between this election and past elections that he has covered? Because I think he has
Yes.
witnessed so much elections in Ghana.
Yes, exactly. Mr. Jones,
Good.
before we move on to the work you do, we just want to know exactly who Mr. Jones is, and the job, your professional career, and your personal contribution to Gambia media. I cannot go without this one. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very, very good question. And it will have to drag me all the way to memory lane. I remember when I just finished my high school in Sierra Leone, I came back home. I was in the hotel industry doing restaurant and bar. I was a very good barman, very good restaurant waiter. You can't believe that. I remember having closed one day from work, and I was at home, and I heard someone, I don't want to name names, reading the news at 6 o'clock on Radio Gambia. And then I said to myself, well, I can do it better than him. I was endowed with a very good broadcast voice. And I discovered this one day in my early youth. I was lucky to just speak over a peer system. And the quality, what I heard was so inspiring that I said, wow, this is great. And then as life went on, I remember with the assassination of John F. Kennedy, I was home, I was about 9. And then it was a big event. The assassination of a president, of course, is a worldwide news, worldwide phenomenon. And my uncle was tuned to the VOA. And every 30 minutes, you'll hear this booming voice come on the airwaves and was broadcast. This is the voice of America broadcasting from Washington. I loved that so much. And I said to myself, one day I'm going to be like this guy. And life went on like that. And it happened. When I left school in Banjul in Crab Island School, I said, hey, you remember you made a promise to yourself. You cannot leave Crab Island School and be like that guy. So I convinced my parents and I was sent to Sierra Leone. And I went all to do my high school, sixth form. I had entered to the university, but then I was just tired with it. For me, the street would have taught me a lot. That's what I believed in. And it has come to pass that even when you put people with bachelor's degrees, masters, I don't care. Malek Jones, when he speaks, is a different kettle of fish, So in that, when I remembered that 1980, I haven't heard that person read the news. The next day I went to Radio Gambia and I told the broadcast officer there, Marcel Tomasi, who I happened to eventually cover election nights, except for this year. Yes. And I said to him, well, I want to work here. He said, well, what do you have? I said, I have A levels, I have O levels, I have A levels. I should have been in the university right now, but I don't want to be there. I just want to play the fields. And then he said to me, well, but there must be something much more than that. I said, well, I heard someone read the news yesterday, and I think I'm better than that guy. Well, he didn't take it lightly. He was a little bit, you know what I'm saying? He didn't like the tone anyway. But then he told me to write a letter, and of course I did that. And I went to tell my sister. I have an elder sister that I confide with. Anything I do, I go and tell him. And I said to him, look, I said to her, I went to Radio Gambia today, and I talked to the broadcast officer there. And I told him I want to work there. He said, what is his name? I said, his name is Marcel Tomasi. And then he said to me, well, Marcel is married to your uncle's daughter, my cousin. And then I said to myself, well, you got to put a word in there because that's Gambia. Put in a word for me then. But eventually, I got a reply on the 18th of March, and I was appointed as a, temporary English announcer on probation, though. It so happened that I learned very quickly Then at that time in 1980, people in the rural areas were not catching Radio Gambia. The transmission was very bad. That way, there was a contingent of broadcasters that were sent to Basse to go and broadcast in Basse. We had an independent broadcast station in Basse, and I was lucky to be sent to Basse. It was in Basse that I built myself up. I had enough time. There was good programming because the time I was at Radio Gambia in Banjul, the competition was very high. They were broadcasters par excellence. There was Jennifer Nyang, there was Nene McDowell, there was Femi Jeng, there was Joy Coker, there was Maria Carvalho, there was who else was there? There was Christina Thomas, there was Bemba Tambedu, there was Marcel himself, there was Sol Njai. I mean, there was Joseph Gabion. These are high caliber broadcasters. And for us, like rookies, to penetrate that, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
So going to Basse just gave me the time, enough time to practice. And then eventually when I came back, I was I was part of it because I had an advantage. There were people in Radio Gambia who had a distinctive voice. It was Marcel Tomasi, Femi Jeng, Joseph Gabidon, and myself. We had that baritone, that deep voice, that commanding voice that people love and like to hear.
Yes.
So that gave me the edge. I was able to penetrate through that galaxy of stars because of my voice. And Femi Jeng was very encouraging. He passed away in 1981 during the coup d'etat of 1981. He always told me, you have a good voice. Hold on to your voice. At Radio Gambia, up to the time I became Director General of GRTS, there was not any single hierarchy, not any line in the hierarchy that I did not go through. I was assistant temporary English announcer, English announcer, assistant producer, senior producer, principal producer, deputy director general, deputy permanent secretary. I could even host that ministry anyway if I were given the chance.
Yeah.
That's the story. And then, there was something that happened. I don't know whether CD Jame, he's in the United States right now. He's in Washington. He used to work for the World Bank. He's now a retiree. I remember he was the first Gambian to do commentary. And the day I was leaving for South Africa to commentate alongside the BBC, they gave me a contract to join them because FIFA wanted the African to talk, to narrate the African game. So I was one of 3 broadcasters in the whole of the continent that had this contract to work with the BBC.
Wow.
So I went to when I was going, I happened to join the same flight with CD Jame. He was going to the US. We joined SN Brussels. He was to disembark in the car and connect the flight to Washington. And then I said to him, hey, Mr. Jame, I am so delighted today, and I'm sure you should be delighted as well. I said, you were the first Gambian to do commentary. And I remember when I was a kid, I used to love your commentary.
Yeah.
And I said to him, look at it now. I'm taking this to the world stage.
Yes.
You were the first broadcaster to do football commentary. Today, I'm going to make history myself. I'm going to be the first Gambian broadcaster to commentate at the World Cup. What a story.
What a story. And you joined the same flight.
And we joined the same. He was so happy. He was happy. He said to me, please let me have some of your commentaries at the World Cup.
Yes.
I said to him, yes. You can always access that because the BBC, they always have a podcast.
Right.
You could download the podcast.
Download that. Just like Daba said, what keep you going? The motivation, where do you get that from? Others will say, well, I am there now. I can't do it anymore. What keep you going?
The adrenaline keeps flowing. I love it. This is the job of an artist. Broadcasting is like an artist. And an artist should not give up, especially when you are disseminating news or information to people. I want to say something here.
Yes.
Believe in me, the people who understand me most are the people who never went to school. When I speak English,
yes,
people who have never learned English language are the ones who will say, I understood what you said. Meaning that the information has been consumed. I remember I had a friend, an old man, he was older than me, Once I went to Farafenye, he heard me speaking on Farafenye FM. He left his house, came to the radio and asked for me. And when he saw me, when they said, this is Malek Jones, he started to name Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today I'm happy. Not knowing that my name was already a household name in that man's house. And it came to pass that that old man once had a child and he named his child after me. I cried that morning. 2 weeks after the christening. He called me after the christening and said to me, Malik. I said, yes, today it's very early this morning. What's going on? He said to me, well, Malik, I also have a Malik in my house.
Oh.
My wife delivered 2 weeks ago, and last week Saturday, I named my child after you. I cried. That is,
that's emotional.
That was emotional. And when I cried, my wife said to me, what's going on? I said, Pature has just named me after his son.
His son. It's a lot. That's a lot. Somebody have to really love you to name their child after you.
Pature was in the other one. There are a few of them who have named me their children.
Yes.
I just cannot recollect them because times have gone by, and with people moving apart, countries getting bigger and bigger, we cannot reconnect. And there are some children who, when they sit down, they said their fathers and their mothers used to tell them, you look like Malek Jones. Some even the kids say, I am Malek Jones. That is inspiring.
That's inspiring.
That is touching my heart.
I also, when I came here a few years ago, several years ago now, I could say. So my dad loved to watch this guy. They call him Larry King on CNN. You must have known. So,
Larry was an inspiration.
Larry King. So my dad will always sit there. In fact, I will sit with him. Then I end up liking his show. One day I was telling my dad, I said, do you know why I always sit here with you? He said, why? I said, because we have our own Larry King. So when I see him there, he said, oh, you have Larry King? I said, Dad, no, we have Malek Jones. That's our Larry King. Yes, thank you. Okay. He disappeared a little, but he will come back. Daba?
Yeah.
This man is a legend. He is a legend, and we are pleased to have him today. We just have to talk about him and celebrate him a little before we get into business. So, what do you have for Malik? You were just telling us good things about him before he comes back.
Yeah, I think Gambia our situation is we don't value or we don't nationally appreciate or value people who give so much for the country and people who are very good at what they do. And I think it's sad and that's one of the reasons why a lot of young people don't have people they look up to who inspires them. Because I think people like him, even if they are not working at the national TV, I think it's important that at the School of Journalism, from time to time, they go there and share their experience, and some of the challenges that they went through to get to this level. Because, like he said, media journalism is an art, it's an art. And when you're passionate about what you do and you perfect it very well, it gets to a point like people get addicted to what you do. For example, like you spoke about Larry King, and I was one person that was so much passionate about that guy that, I never miss his shows. And, he and Christian Amanpour, these are people that when they interview, or when they narrate stories, you sitting down there listening to them or watching them, your mind goes like you are in the situation that they are trying to narrate. So, and that is what journalism is all about. Journalism is not about, the role of the media or a journalist is not to make decisions for people. You narrate what you see, and people will read, or people will watch or listen to it, and then make their own informed choices. But it's sad that our present day journalists, most of the times, like the way they write or how they narrate stories, they're already trying to get into the mind of the people who are watching to believe in what they're saying. And that shouldn't be the role of a journalist. The role of a journalist should be to give an unbiased reporting of situations, and then people will listen, people will read, people have their minds, they have their brains, and then at the end of the day, they will analyze and make an informed decision about
Okay.
what
Never,
the
he's
situation
back.
is all about.
Yes,
Oh
he's
yeah,
back.
yeah. I don't know, for one reason or the other, I just disappeared.
No, it will happen. It will keep happening. That's
Okay.
Gambia. Yeah, we are
Right.
not surprised. What
All
we
right.
are saying here is, Uncle, we will try to bring you after today because we would like to celebrate this legend, and the Gambians will join us. We will open the line and celebrate you. I'm telling you, growing up, it's all about you taught us a lot, and you leave a mark in so many people's heart, and we would like to bring you back on just to celebrate you. That's all we would like to do. Okay, so now we move on. Today we are bringing you to give us a little history about the past coverage you have done in election nights compared to December 4th.
Okay, but allow me to just
Go ahead.
clear a little bit of things that surround elections in the Gambia, and I would like to give you a brief history, very brief, about the system of election that we have in this country. And as early as just before the 1960 elections, the Gambia introduced the marble voting.
Yeah.
There were two reasons as to why they should use the marble, because people at that time were not very educated, okay, to writing and stuff like that. And then the other reason was the fact that they felt it was safer, all right? Now, the marble voting is only found in the Gambia. No other country on this planet uses the marble to vote. And I can tell you that it is the safest, most credible election ballot system. You cannot rig it. Now, if a rigging has got to do, probably it's when they try to computerize what the returning officers send to the IEC. It is being computerized. There is bound to be human error.
Okay.
The Gambia, at that time, the universal adult suffrage started in 1960, where people voted, all right? But then in 1996, the former president, Yahya Jammeh, lowered the voting age. It was by an act of parliament to 18 years, all right? Now, what we had before in the First Republic is that the commissioners of the administrative areas were the returning officers, and the permanent secretary at the Ministry for Local Government and Lands was the one doing what Aliu Momar Njai, or the chairman of the IEC, is doing. In 1996, Jammeh moved away from that, because I cannot be a permanent secretary and allow the government to fall. I lose my job. I might lose my job. Okay, governors will not also allow the administrative areas that they are overseeing to lose their job. So for me, it wasn't that all fair. But then when we started to have the Independent Electoral Commission after the PIC, then Gambia started to have a transparent and free and fair election. Now, you must also remember that presidential elections were never held until in 1987. If I can get that right, in 1980, what used to prevail is that there was parliamentary elections, and whatever party wins, they will choose their party leader to become the head of state. Now, after 1987, then we started to have presidential elections, where people will choose their flag bearer for presidential, and then there was National Assembly elections. Okay, now the elections I covered spanned from 2000 and 2001 up to date. I have always been there on election night, giving my analysis of how elections were run. I worked with the late Simon Kinte. I worked with my former boss, Marcel Tomasi, people like Falun Jai, who was a statistician, and so many other people. And over the years, I saw how credible the process has been in the Gambia. In Gambia, you cannot cheat the elections. There can be slight mistakes, but not something monumental that you may think that the election was stolen. No, far from that. Even in 2020, even in 2016.
16.
Yes, in 2016, the elections were not rigged, but there was some little flaw in transposing the election results. If I was Momar Njai, I wouldn't even have even mentioned that, because that was what triggered the problem, because Jammeh had already conceded
Yes.
to President Barrow. But then a day or two afterwards, in trying to be the fair and just chairman of the IEC, Momar said, well, there was a mistake in the transposing of resolve, blah, blah, blah. And then Jammeh said, hey, wait a minute. If there was a mistake, let's redo it. So that's where the problem came. But Jammeh had already conceded.
Yes.
He has given up. He's called Barrow and congratulated him. End of story. For me, if I was Ali Momar Njai, I wouldn't have said there was a mistake. I would let that bygones be bygones. Let sleeping dogs lie.
Lie.
Yes, exactly.
So since 2021, among all those coverage, which one of those or which of those was memorable, and why are they so memorable to you? Those coverage.
2016 was a memorable one.
Why?
I will never forget the elections of 2016. Yes, because for me, it put me in the spotlight, and it showed me, Malik, this is a test of your resilience. If you're weak, you'll be destroyed. Stand firm. There's going to be a lot of criticisms, but stay there. I knew Jammeh was losing. I knew quite well, more than 2 hours before the elections were given. I knew Jammeh has lost. When I serve a government, I give my heart to the government of the day. If that government passes, the next government that comes, I work with that government. This is what I serve. I served Sir Dawda for 14 good years, mark you, from 1980 to 1994. Enter Jammeh. I served Jammeh from 1994 to 2016. Adama Barrow came. I served him from 2016 until 27, when the UDP felt uncomfortable. And the best thing they thought was that I was Jammeh. I was not Jammeh. I was the system. Like Elijah Sise, like the ministers, the permanent secretaries, the managing directors have all served in the Jammeh administration, and are still sitting out there. I was just one of them. The fact that I work in the media does not mean that I was Jammeh special. Jammeh never had anybody special, by the way. All right, we all work for the status quo. But going back to my specialty in 2016, was that I had a lot of stick. A lot of people thought that, well, yeah, that's Jammeh's boy. I was never Jammeh's boy. Neither was I Sir Dawda's boy. I was nobody's boy. I just worked for the system. But then after the elections, just like a lot of people were derailed with the new dispensation, everybody wanted a job. Everybody wanted to secure your position. And then they start to shift people around. In fact, actually what happened was I was removed from GRTS, but I was redeployed back to where I came from. And that was being Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Information and Communication, a job I loved so well, because that takes me to another level. I was in policy making. I was advisor to the minister on media and on media affairs. For me, that was great. I've been broadcasted all my life from 1980 to 2017 to 2013, because I became Deputy Permanent Secretary in 2013. For me, that was the acme of my profession. After broadcasting, go to policy. But right now I'm back in broadcasting anyway,
Right.
which is my love, my heart. I love
Yes.
to broadcast until I die. Even when I die, I'll broadcast in the grave.
Oh, we love you for that. Anyway, we like
Malik.
you said in the grave.
Good, good.
we love you for that. But
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
just like you said, 2016, we were watching you read those numbers, but all of a sudden, everything just stopped. No numbers were coming in. We were nervous I can say some here, but I shouldn't. What were you going through your mind emotionally?
Emotionally, I knew the government has lost. Jammeh has lost the elections.
Okay.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
And in as much as Jammeh was an egoist, he thought about himself most of the time. But Jammeh did change the lives of so many people. Jammeh did a lot of good and did a lot of bad as well. So he was in the middle of doing good and doing bad. Now, until and unless Jammeh comes and faces a tribunal or a commission, for me, he becomes, I think he is what would I say, he becomes innocent. Until and unless he comes in front of a commission or a tribunal that finds him guilty. It's all about Jammeh said so, Jammeh told me that, it was Jammeh who did that. No, let Jammeh come and say it. So unless and until Jammeh comes and testifies, it's all going to be somebody's word against his word, which does not stand. But then, like you said, I was very emotional. I know the guy I've served longer in my work career is losing now. And I was emotional. I was also emotional, I beg your pardon, I was also emotional because I started wondering, where are the votes gone?
Yes.
Remember, 886,000 plus registered voters. 390,000 plus did not vote in 2016. That was serious. I was alarmed. And if I should be there analyzing the elections, that number for me was cause for concern. And I drove that point. Where are the voters? Have they died? Have they gone the back way? These were questions I was asking all the time. And I was wrong about asking those questions.
Yes. You are not. Okay. So Deba, go ahead. Let's jump onto the
Yeah, I just wanted to ask him something about the election night because he was at the epicenter of everything that was going on at the RTS, and people like us who were on the ground, and we knew how high the stake was. Because I can remember, like, I have a friend who works at the IEC when the results were being issued out, and they get to a point like they stopped. Then he texted me that, the military guys are here with trucks of military, so let me come and pick him. He had to even drop his food there and his working materials and, walk all the way to the stadium for me to pick him up. So we also had that, the army came to GRTS while you guys were doing analysis of the results and asked you guys to stop. Was it true, or it was just a speculation that really happened?
No, the military came, but at no one time could they have stopped our broadcast, because the broadcast will consequently come from IEC. Now, there were 2 points of broadcast. One was at the IEC, and the other one was at the in the studios. We will only come on air if we have anything from the IEC. The IEC will announce the results. We will and then hand over back. Whoever is at the IEC will hand over transmission to us at the television. And then our team of local language announcers will announce the results in the local languages and then hand it over to us as the analysts of the results. There came a time that the IEC was not announcing the results, so we cannot do anything. But no soldier came and told us, don't announce. No, we don't. We don't announce. IEC announces. I mean, of course, we analyze. So there was a long break, just like we had a long break in this election as well.
Yes.
There was a time when about 7 hours, 7 good hours, we did not broadcast results. Were soldiers around here? No, there were no soldiers here. But in mile 7, there was, not mile 7, on MDI Road, where the television is, there were soldiers. But I know they had Lamin Manga. Then Manga was Director General. They had him sit somewhere, and they were just standing by his side. Mm-hmm. Whether it was protective or otherwise, I don't know. But then there was a lull in our broadcasting because we were not having results from the IEC. But not that the soldiers told us not to announce. That was not true.
Wow. Yeah, okay. Let's move on to comparison of 2016 and 2021. Let's go ahead. Daba, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Malik, being somebody who has been covering elections in Gambia, because I know like 2016 and 2021 elections, a lot of speculations, a lot of, yet to be proven grapevine news have been out there. For example, in 2016, people said, it is alleged that, the 300,000 votes that you are talking about were those votes that registered voters that they said were at the APRC bureau in Kanifing, which was burned down. Which to me, I don't know. I am yet to see any evidence that proves that. Unless and until I see the contrary, I still believe it's just a grapevine news. Another thing is in 2021, we have also seen when the results came out, we have seen political parties and independent candidates, came out to reject the results on the basis that the election was rigged. And like you said, I think I've said that here on election night, that knowing how the Gambian election goes, I doubt, and unless and until I am proven otherwise, I don't believe the election was rigged, because the way our system operates, it's very, very much difficult for anybody to just steal the whole election results or convert the whole election results in a favor of a particular candidate. So, two things that I want to ask is, one, why do you think Gambians voted the way they voted, and what also motivated Gambians with the level of percentage in terms of the number of voters, people who registered, and the amount of people who came out to vote on election day? What do you think was the motivation for people to come out in that large number to vote? And why do you think they voted the way they voted? They voted for the NPP, Barrow and his coalition instead of the other candidates.
Thank you. That's a very good question. The turnout was 98%, the highest. Barrow's victory, not the highest in the history of the Gambia. Jammeh got the highest, 67% in 2011, was the highest ever in the election annals of this country. Barrow had 53% of the votes. All right, there was 98% turnout. People came out in massive numbers because they wanted to see Barrow to continue the development he was taking. And there was also no alternative. They haven't seen anybody who's got an alternative. Name me. UDP were sending the wrong messages all over. The militants in UDP were using WhatsApp audios to the detriment of the party. And the hierarchy did not stop them. The messages were inflammatory, incendiary. They were causing fire all over the place. The message was wrong. Even from the party hierarchy, the deputy party leader of the United Democratic Party was making messages based on tribal sentiments. People didn't want that. They don't want to hear that. People wanted to hear the unifying message, that which will make Gambia a complete whole, a whole entity, one people, one country. The message from the United Democratic Party was the wrong message. Barrow came out with a message of an all-embracing people. Vote me in. I will unite you all into one people. And mark you, he got the APRC as a partner. The APRC are number one when it comes to mobilization. They are good at that. They've got the structures. They've been in government for 22 years. All they lacked was the money. If they had the money, they would have stood on their own and they would have won this election. But they didn't have the money. Barrow did not have the numbers. The marriage was a marriage of convenience and it worked right. And people came out because of the message that the APRC and Barrow were putting out there. Let us work together for the good of the Gambia. Let us work together as one people. But on the other side of the aisle, the message from the biggest political party was a message of division. I wish we could have people who are joining us now with their comments and hear what they're saying, because what I'm saying right now, it may be hurting some people, but this is the fact. We heard from the number two of the UDP saying it is a time for the Mandinkas. That was bad message. If I am a Jola or I'm a Fula, I wouldn't want to hear that. And another bad message that the UDP put up was that, with due respect, I love
Dabo, Honorable Dabo.
He's a friend of mine. I have interviewed Honorable Dabo on 2 occasions, and I found him to be a very peaceful person. He is not that person that will come up with that kind of message. But then I also blame him because he could have put a stop to it and tell him, no, this is not the language I want to hear from my militants, because you're making people, you're driving people away. In politics, you need numbers. You need friends. You don't drive people away. You don't create commotion. You don't create trouble. You want to reach out to people to come and support you in a peaceful and orderly way. But some of the message was incendiary. It was bad messaging. And another thing, I wouldn't like to have seen Mr. Dabo come out in that walker, which shows that he was sick. That was, if I was PRO for the UDP, no, Mr. Dabo will not appear, because people will say, why vote for an ailing president? He is sick. Can he run this country as a sick man? I wish him well. I wish he gets well. Yeah. But that was not a good thing to put out there. It made a lot of people fear. Let me tell you another thing. The UDP militants, some people in the UDP voted against the UDP itself. All right? They went to the polling station, no one is there, and they voted against their own party. You could see the numbers. Holy Moses, they were strongholds of the UDP that President Barrow won. Brikama, for example, look at in Kiang, look at Jara. Senator Dabo said that Jara is his safe deposit and Brikama is his savings account, showing that he relied on these areas, these administrative areas, Mansokongo area and the Brikama Area Council, as his strong haven. Nobody should have beaten the UDP there, but the message was bad, and the UDP voted against themselves. All right? Now, I'll move on to the GDC.
Yes.
If you want me to break it down.
Yes. Yeah, we're going through them. Yes.
Yes. All right. I've told you why Barrow won. The message was explicit. There was a good job done by the APRC because they know the grassroots. They've got the structures there. They've got numbers. If it was only NPP and UDP without APRC, UDP would have won. There's no doubt about that. I can attest to that. GDC, you know, GDC was the cause of Jammeh's defeat in 2016. The coalition did not win. They did not win Jammeh. It was Mama Kande that put sand in the soup of Jammeh, in the Jokados, North Bank, in the North Bank area, some areas in URR. These were areas of Jammeh that the voters will not give to the coalition and will not give to Jammeh, but will give it to Kande. If Kande joined the coalition, they would have gone to Jammeh. Jammeh would have won the elections. Could Jammeh have been out there to revenge?
Against who? Mama Kande himself?
Mama Kande? Is that possible? Is that possible? Did he also take sand?
I'm sorry, I screamed so loud.
No, this is a hypothesis. Did he take sand in Kande's soup? And say, all right, let's all be losers. I have lost. Now I'm going to make sure you lose as well. All right, boy, 1, 2, 3, go in there. I'm going to say Ghana for the time being, but then my target is there. I wouldn't, if I was Kande, I wouldn't allow President Jammeh to send in those words, to give him the platform. The platform that President Jammeh, former President Jammeh, had on Kande's platform, his campaign, brought Kande down like, what's the best word to use here?
Tornado.
Yeah, brought him down like a tornado. Absolutely. Because when you go to the 2016 results, there were areas that Kande won convincingly. And funnily enough, he lost those areas woefully. And what became a bit contrary to me, he won in areas like in the Fonyi, he won 2 constituencies in Fonyi.
Yes, that's Fonyi, Bonda,
and Fonyi Kansala
and Bondali.
Bondali.
Yeah, we will bring those analysis later. Yes.
Okay. Let's say we'll bring those ones later on.
Yes.
Okay. So, and there is a fellow who was, I will not name names, but maybe you guys will know. When Jammeh was in power, this guy was in the United Kingdom, and there was everything that you think was evil that he heaped on Jammeh at the time. Now, all of a sudden, this guy resurfaced. The guy resurfaced and was playing Jammeh's fiddle. He was playing. When I saw this guy, I said, no, you cannot be serious. You were the one out there in the United Kingdom throwing everything at Jammeh. Jammeh this, Jammeh that, Jammeh this, Jammeh that. Today, you're the one saying that Jammeh is okay, he's a good guy. Guys, come on, let us join the bandwagon and support. I think they derailed the bandwagon that Mama Kande was traveling on and brought about his demise. And from what I've learned, he has made it clear that he will not congratulate President Adama Barrow. I wish he changes his mind and congratulate him, because we are moving on. We are moving on. We're looking for a one Gambia. Elections are over. Let us reconcile and move on.
No. Before you go to Halifa Sallah, when Jammeh came out in Kanilai and said he's no more with the executive, Fabakari, Honorable Fabakari, most people are like, oh, he betrayed them. Oh, they betrayed him. What were you thinking then? The Jammeh of that you know?
I said he shot himself in the foot. He took a rifle and he shot himself in the foot. If I were Jammeh, there were 2 things I would have done. Keep quiet and allow things to go on their own without me saying a word. Or take the best option. Give my blessing to Fabakary Tombong Jatta and say, go ahead, support the president. Because mark you, Jammeh was a president. And once a president, always a president, and you have to support your fellow president. His days are gone. His name is no longer in the electoral register at the IEC. It's Fabakary Tombong Jatta's name who's there. Jammeh cannot qualify to stand as a player in the politics. So he should have given his blessing to Fabakary Tombong Jatta. And at the end of the day, I know President Adama Barrow is a man of goodwill. He would have looked at Jammeh's situation because he went to Kanilai. He went to his family. How can I go and meet your family, talk to them, a message of peace, and then I'm waiting for you at the corner with a gun to just shoot your head off? No. President Barrow wouldn't have done that if Jammeh had allowed Fabakary and given his blessing and said, support the incumbent. But he did not do that. He took a gun and shot himself. What was going to be his lifeline to survive, come back home, retired, take your kanilai, your cattle and your farm and live a normal life, maybe with a retiree benefit, is all gone down the drain.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, there were people in Equatorial Guinea. I don't know whether you saw that.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, we were celebrating. If Jammeh should see those people celebrating, I think he'll go mad. My own people are guiding me now, are celebrating. What's going on? Did I trample on horse shit? And that's what I think he did. He just walked on horse shit. And now it's a mockery. It is sad. I really pity him. Maybe it's the loneliness. Sometimes when you're lonely, there's nobody around you, the mind plays with you. You do things that you don't even know that you've done them. And now to say that he regrets will be utterly late. It's late. He cannot go back. He cannot retract what he said. The damage is done. Like maybe in his magnanimity, President Barrow can be...
That Jammeh we knew, I don't think that's my opinion. I don't think he will come and apologize. I don't think so.
No, he wouldn't. I agree with you. He wouldn't.
For me, I think, since 2016, I think I even wrote about this. The reason why even Jammeh rejected the election results was God's making. You see, when you offend people, you shouldn't be arrogant enough to come out and acknowledge your mistakes and say, I'm sorry. These are very simple words, but God is not with the people who are arrogant.
No.
And even the prophet has said that if you have an iota of arrogance within your heart, as small as the sun, you will not inhale the scent of Jannah. And you see a lot of the people who are arrogant in life, just watch their endings. People like Pharaoh, people like Satan. When God asked Satan to come, when God created Adam and asked the angels, because Satan is not an angel, he's a jinn, but he worshiped Allah to the point that to reach the level of the angels, he go out with them and do a lot of things. When God asked him to come and kneel in front of Adam and prostrate, he refused. He said, he is better. I am better because I am made out of fire and your creation is made out of clay. The same thing happens with Pharaoh. So that is Jammeh's problem, because Jammeh, like Malik said, there is no politician, there is no serious politician. Let me say this, there is no serious political party or a candidate who runs an election and by 2 a.m. or 2:30 a.m. you don't know the results of the election. If any party does that, then the party is not serious and the party is not prepared. Because in 2016, when Jammeh was calling Barrow to congratulate him, he exactly said the difference in numbers between him and Barrow. He said, I think it was 18,000 something. You understand? So he knew exactly what the results were, because every political party has a situation room on election night. Because every serious party or a party that believes they can win these elections would have a party agent, more than one or two, in every polling station across the country. So, and because the Gambian election is on the spot counting, at least after 1 hour, the polling stations where those votes were casted, those results must have been pasted on the wall. And your agents must have signed the numbers that the party has and other candidate, because the counting of these things are done in their presence. It is done in the open.
Yeah.
So that's why, for me, I believe every political party that participates in election by 2 a.m. or 2:30 a.m., at least 3 a.m., you should be able to know the situation of the votes, whether you are winning or you are losing.
Okay.
So the fact that Jame refused to come out, because like Malik said, I always say this, he did a lot of good things. I believe from 1994 to 2006, Jame did what he was supposed to do. I think post 2006, Gambia lost he lost everything. He wasn't concentrating on developing the country, but he was more of an angry person who was bent out there on revenge and concentrating more on his personal beings and all that stuff. But I think unless and until he comes out and apologize and acknowledge the mistakes that he did,
he might.
I don't think Gambia.
We will be excited to see. We'll be excited to hear that voice again.
I don't think Gambia. No, but I don't believe Jame will do that, because the reason why I said I don't believe Jame will do that. Jame has several opportunities to do that, yet still he refused.
Malik, you hold on to that. Let's go to Halifa Sallah before time leaves us. Uncle, Honorable Halifa Sallah being Doi, not him individually, but with his work too, for so many years. They message Gambians. Yes.
From 1986.
From 1986, what is it that Gambians are not voting them in?
From my recollection, the PDOIS party has never got more than 7% of the votes since they started contesting elections in this country. The message is not for this generation. The name itself drives you away when you try to open up People's Democratic Organization for Socialism and whatever. You got it right. Anyway, for me, it's sometimes it's socialism
for independence and
socialism. Yes, it's too.
Who's talking about socialism? Who's talking about socialism in this era of ours? Who's talking about socialism way back in 1986? Into the 90s, into the 20s. And now we're thinking about going to the 30s. Who's talking about socialism? For Christ's sake, my grandfather and grandmother in Basse, you tell them socialism, what is he talking about? That's what they tell you. They do not understand. And I have interviewed the Honorable Halifa Sallah on many occasions, and the catchword was system change. Yes, nice name, system change. But you cannot change the system if you do not control the system. I guess you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
If you want to change the system, you have to have the system in your hands. When I'm president, I'll do system change. But I cannot say system change without controlling the system. So for me, I disagree with that system change catchword of theirs. Nice person he is. From an individual point of view, I know Halifa, when I was back in Radio Gambia, he used to come and do a program called Magi Eleg in Wolof. And he talked about the future of the young people. Nice program. From a political perspective, I think he did well during the impasse. He was the architect of the coalition, but he was betrayed. They let him down. And it was that anger of him being let down that he refused to take up any significant position in a government that has just moved away from the radar. That's the coalition government that tied the hands of Barrow, that he couldn't do much, but he had the power to sack Hussein Dabo, Fatoumata Tambajang, OJ, and then Ali Jawo. But he was under a coalition government. Halifa did not partake of the coalition government because the MOU that they drafted was never signed. It never was binding on any one of them. It was just something that was put there on paper, and they believed that people, out of their love for this country, out of being gentlemen with character, with good character, will subscribe to it. But come 3 years after, Barrow said no, the Constitution. Oh no, before Barrow said no, it was Hussein Udabo who says, you cannot come down. Anybody who tells you to come down, I'll take that person to court. Okay? Dabo fell apart with President Barrow. Barrow fired him, and he left office. 3-year Jotna came in. Barrow is accusing, or let me put it clearly before Barrow takes me to court. It is assumed, before they take me to court, it is assumed by some people that Dabo was behind 3 years Jotna.
No, but Malik,
did you hear that?
But Malik, Barrow himself attests to that during the campaign. He said Dabo was the CEO. He said
the CEO of 3 year Jotna.
Yeah, he said it in the campaign. So he cannot take you to court.
All right, so fine. So he cannot take me to court.
So he
have just attested.
Daba, he's your lawyer. He said that you are guaranteed he will not take you to court.
All right. I buy that. I buy that. Okay. If Barrow says that, then Barrow is right and I'm right. Okay. 3 year Jotna came in. It was all full of whatever. But it was the protest was put down. They say it was heavy-handed by some media outlets, whatever the case. We've seen more heavy-handed situations than that. But anyway, Barrow is on a 5-year constitutional term, which has just ended. Are we clear on that?
Yes.
All right? Barrow has also allowed the UDP to use his government, because he's a newcomer, he's a new kid on the block. Hussein Dabo is more into politics and he could manage things. Look at the civil service first. There's a lot of people in the civil service that were put in there by the UDP government, the UDP faction of the coalition. In the diplomatic service, the same thing. Most of the diplomats were UDP handpicked people and put into the diplomatic service. Let's call a spade a spade. And later on, when Adama Barrow felt that, well, this was the situation, he recalled. Most of them were recalled. Some of them are still in Banjul. I just walk across them and see them every other day on the streets. I say, hi, how you doing? All doing fine. Well, that's the order of the day. Well, that's that. It's all about transparency as we speak right now. So the message of PDOIS and their lack of able to set up the grassroots politics that can yield them dividend never sprouted. Okay? People never understood what they meant by their call for socialism and now a system change. And of course, they lost woefully in this election. I think they had about 4% or so of the total vote cast. Let me just look at that. PDOIS under Salah, they only had 377%. SFL 2%. Abdullah Jame 1%. Those people are jokers. All right. Halifa lost, and he said, "Farewell.
Yeah,
my days are over. I'm going to take the back seat." He's gone. Some of my friends told me that when he cast his vote and was talking to the press, he cried. That was emotional. If I was there, I would have given him a handkerchief and asked him to wipe your tears. These are tears of an honorable citizen. The Gambians of today don't understand what you're trying to say. And socialism has no place here. Change the rhetoric, change the language. Let it be something else. But if you're telling me about democratic independence organization for socialism and blah, 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 people are not ready for that long thing. They want to see something cut and short. People's Party for Peace, People's Party for Development. That's what people want to hear. That's what we want to hear. You don't want to hear socialism. Socialism. Even though the Japanese people have all disappeared from the radar. Now you tell me socialism in Africa? It didn't work out. So they lost miserably again, 377% this time round. Very bad result. The worst result they've ever got in elections since they started electioning in this country. We've talked about GDC, okay?
Yes.
And the spoiled party, which was invaded by Jame.
Esa.
The super playboy, who thought that his influence in the TRRC could have won him the seat at the president's office. No, that was wrong. TRRC, or being a lawyer or being a prosecutor, and politics are two different ball games. His message was sour, provocative, and arrogant. And no wonder Mr. Fall could not even pull more than 2% of the votes. And I said this before, that Mr. Fall will not make 20,000 votes. He wouldn't, I know. Because I saw the arrogance, I saw the wrong messages that were being portrayed. And the area, when SR lost Banjul, when I said the die is cast, is for attire. The die, who's brewing attire for you?
For myself.
Yes. So when he lost Banjul, the three constituencies in Banjul, he's from Banjul. He's from Banjul, what? That's north, Banjul south.
But some will say that he's a latecomer. Do you think that contributed too? He's a latecomer.
So also it's Abdullah Jame.
Okay.
He just add his one and one, two, he just add one and one from Abdullah Jame, and he got two. And because of that cheap popularity, he was able to beat Abdullah Jame. But being a latecomer or no latecomer, Esa wouldn't have made it. People were already disgusted with the messaging, with the arrogance. People don't want to hear that. And so it reflected in his votes. Abdullah Jame, the guy from GCCA, he was former managing director of the GCCA. No harm, new kid on the block, was testing the waters. He lost his deposit alongside Halifa Saleh and what's he called again? Halifa Saleh, Esa Fall, and Abdullah Jame, they all lost their deposits. Okay, poor performance. He got 612 votes in Banjul, exactly right. All right. He's from Banjul, he's a Banjulian. That's one place that he should have got immense support. Your hometown, if you don't win your home, they say if you don't know where you're going to, know where you're coming from. Where you're coming from, you do not have any support. Of course, there's another adage they say that prophets are not revered in their homes. It's outside that they are revered. But he did very badly outside as well. He did very bad in his home. He did extremely bad outside. President Barrow's victory was a tsunami. It was a humiliation all over, all the 6 administrative areas.
But let's look at Banjul. Why do you think that President Barrow get all these votes?
Right. I'll tell you something about Banjul. I'll tell you something about Banjul. Banjul people, they like money. Banjulians, give them money, you own them. And President Adama Barrow did spend money in Banjul. If you want to be a politician, you must have money. Money is part of the game. It's not a poor man's game. A poor man cannot win elections in Africa, worldwide even.
What about his developments also in Banjul?
The development in Banjul is huge, it's monumental. And that's the streets. He's still got a lot of work to do in Banjul. But that's not his domain, that's central government. But local government has also is the prime mover of change in Banjul. Should be the prime mover of change in Banjul. The mayor of Banjul is the one who should be the prime mover, should work in tandem with government to see that Banjul does change. But okay, thank you to President Barrow. He has done a good job in doing the streets in Banjul. We want to thank him for that. But President Barrow still has a lot of work to do in the whole of the Gambia. He's done incredibly well in URR and all those areas where he's done bridges and roads and projects that he continued that were the foundation of the former president. So we want to say thank you to him because he did a great job. And we just want to say thank you to him for having done a wonderful job. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So that's the Banjul projection right there on the screen. So
I can see that.
Yes.
You had wonderful graphs.
Yes, we have a great technician at the back. He is yes, that's Banjul North, Banjul Central, Banjul South.
All right.
Yeah, we will be also thinking that UDP would have done better because of the mayor's influence.
Well, you see, I told you one thing. People see they view elections as to how much it affects their lives. Okay? It wasn't Mayor Malik Lowe, who did the roads in Banjul. It was President Barrow. Now, there's a street in Banjul. There are a series of streets in Banjul that when you walk those streets in the rainy season, you think that you're walking in a swamp land. They get inundated with water. The water doesn't move. The sanitation was awful. Lavatories will spill on the streets on a rainy day. But President Barrow is trying to change all of that.
Okay.
And the people of Banjul are feeling it. That this guy is helping to change our standard of living. Okay? And I told you that President Barrow did spend money in this election. And Banjul was not left out of that spending.
Okay.
They were recipients of the money that President Barrow spent. We did not see it though, but we can tell you that money was rightly spent.
Deba, you go ahead with Serekunda.
Serekunda. Well, when we talk about Serekunda, we talk about Kanifing as an administrative area. Now, when you look at Serekunda per se, which is Halifa Salah's area, by the way.
And he won 70% of the votes for parliament to go to be elected. So how come his number is very low?
It is 1,927 votes in Serekunda, your own constituency. In other words, people just unanimously endorsed President Adama Barrow. Maybe God intervened.
Okay.
I'll tell you one thing. People look low on President Adama Barrow. He's a sleeping president. He doesn't take action. He's always quiet. He doesn't have an idea. He is clueless. He's this, he's that. And they try to put him down. And God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, help those who people try to bring down. When you look down low on people, God comes in and lifts those people on top of you so that you will learn that there is no room for trying to put people down. All the politicians, all those who even failed in their bid to get nominated, their language was incendiary against the president. He is clueless. He doesn't know this. He doesn't know that. He is a sleeping president. Oh, God said, okay, he's a sleeping president. I'll wake him up. I'll empower him. I'll give him the power to rule over you. I'll make him my representative in your country. And this is what happened. God made President Barrow his representative in this country 2021 to 2026. I don't know beyond that. We haven't come before that. But mark you, by the way, we have the National Assembly elections coming.
Yes.
That's very serious. Because right now, UDP have the numbers in the National Assembly. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So Serekunda, Barrow did the whole. Yeah, he did well.
Yeah, he gave them a good traction. He gave them a good traction in Serekunda.
7,000. Yes. Let's go to Combo South. Combo South. Where you just said, yes.
That's what we call the powerhouse.
Yes.
The powerhouses. There were 5 of them. There were 6 powerhouses. Combo South, Busumbala, Sanementareng, Old Yudum, Brikama South, and Brikama North. These are the powerhouses in the Brikama administrative area. 62,399 voters in Combo South. And when you look at Combo South, you look at the numbers there, you see what President Adama Barrow has in Combo South. You get amazed. I mean, it's a big beating. It's a tsunami. It's worse than a tsunami.
We were expecting Dabo to do well there. We were expecting, yes.
Now remember, in that very area, Jame won that area in 2016. But here, so we're talking about Combo South, isn't it? It's Combo South we're talking about.
NPP is 25,000.
Where the electorate is 62,399. We're talking about Barrow taking almost, did he have 14,425?
Combo South. Is that the 25,000? Is that Combo South, or are you looking at Brikama?
Sorry. That's okay. Combo South. Sorry, rather.
Yeah.
There he had 25,000, 25,000 plus, and Dabo had 20,000 plus, 5,000 more. But that is a stronghold for the UDP. But Barrow was able to cut himself clear by 5,000 plus votes. It was keenly contested, though. 5,000, not quite substantial. It is substantial, yes. But if Usenu can pull 20,000, that means he was in contention.
Yes, it's right there. Okay.
Busumbala.
Yes.
That also is an area where it was very close. It's 20,000 up against 19,000.
19,000. Yes, right there on the graph. Yes, you can see the graph is showing by colors.
Exactly.
But, yes. To a bit summarize it, let's go to Kiang. Kiang being, as you can tell, they've been oppositions almost we don't know when, and many were expecting that's UDP stronghold. So the only place UDP really won, Kiang West. They did well there. I'm talking about like with the lines.
Oh yeah, the margin being big.
Being big, yes, being big.
Yeah. But remember, in the Kiangs, that's where you have sentiments for people like the guy from GFA. It's not a football association. It's Gambia for all.
Bibi
Dabo. Those were sentimental votes. But the people of Kiang should have also understood the fact that it was President Adama Barrow that gave them electricity, which they never had, of which they were fooled in the Jawara days that they should go and clear the shrubs because they were going to do an airport there. That was a PPP gimmick. Say, all right, vote for us, PPP. Come with us, go to the bush, clear the bush. We're going to make an airport for you. And when you tell a Kianko that, they'll beat you up, you know.
Yes.
I hope they're not looking for me somewhere that record after this anyway. But the Kiankos were fooled by one politician called Hausun Semiga Jame of blessed memory. He told them, come, we're going to build an airport for you here. They came with their cutlasses and their machetes and stuff like that, and they cleared the whole shrub. And anytime that the plane flew over Kiang, they thought, hey, he's coming to land. But yeah, the BBW factor was there, and it helped. But so, what is Kiang? What is Kiang? It's not much. Look at the voter number there. It's not very serious. I mean, the electorate in Kiang West is 10,831. In Kiang Central is 7,000. In Kiang East is 5,000. Altogether, the whole of Mansakonko administrative area is a little under 55,000. Even Combo South. Combo South is more than that. Just Combo South is more than the whole of the administrative area. So it's not very serious. But by the way, that's Dabo safe deposit account. That's the safe deposit box, according to a lawyer Dabo. And Brikama Area Council is his savings account. That's where his savings account is. I like those descriptions. Okay. My saving account on my deposit account.
Deba, go ahead. You heard the Deba, go ahead.
Yeah, this election is so much interesting, and I think since last Saturday I've been going through these results, and also I've been comparing some of the analysis that people are giving. I know a lot of people, especially the losing camps, are trying to push the agenda of vote buying and ethnic sentiments and all that stuff. But for me, I think when it comes to vote buying, or what they call vote buying anyway, because not actually going to buy the voters' card of voters to hold it so that they will not vote on election day, but to seduce them with incentives like milling machines, cooking pots, and all. I think political parties in Gambia basically does that. I think the only party that I did not know or don't see openly doing it is PDIS. Apart from PDIS, even in these past elections, almost all the candidates were doing it. Because the reason why even Mama Kande gained prominence in Gambian politics is because of what he does. When he's not giving out those boreholes because it's charity, he's doing it to get political support. So it's the same as me giving out Calero to a women group out there for them to vote for me. So for me, I think they are all equal on that. And I don't think that is an excuse that anybody can use. Okay, when it comes to the ethnic sentiment, I don't believe ethnicity played any part in these elections. Okay. With quite honesty. Because it would have worried me if, like they claim, like the other ethnic groups gang up against UDP to vote in for Barrow because Dabo is Mandinka. I don't buy that story. Because in all the Mandinka dominated areas in Gambia, UDP were beaten seriously. I would have looked at that if UDP had won in areas where Mandinkas dominated and lost in other areas where other ethnic groups dominated. But this, I think, for me, I believe I've got different view of why the election went the way it went. One, I think opponents of Barrow were very much complacent. They were very much confident. They underestimated the guy, even though Barrow said publicly that he's a political animal. They laugh about it. They thought it was funny. When Sepras came out and did that poll, the first poll showed us how the minds of the voters were thinking. But a lot of people rubbish that, but they yet still believe on social media polls that were conducted by either political parties or political party supporters or people who are affiliated or sympathizers of political parties. And not forgetting that most of the people who interact on social media are Gambians in the diaspora. And not many of them hold a voter's card. So you may have dominance on social media, but that might not naturally translate to votes on election day, because majority of the people who are on social media probably don't have a voter's card. That's one. Two, I think also, to be fair to NPP and Barrow, I think they run a very good campaign. They had a very good strategy, and it paid off. The reason why I said that is because I think they were the only political party that was simultaneously having campaign all throughout in all the regions at the same time. because they had a local campaign team in every region who were stationed in that region from the day of the campaign to the last day. While the president was going on tour with few of the executives and ministers and all that stuff, but you have even ministers who were stationed in certain regions. For example, if you go to Combo South or the Combos, you had Ibrahim Silla and his group who were there. They didn't follow the president on the campaign trail. They were stationed there permanently. And you can see every day, morning and afternoon, night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., they are in communities, they are talking to people. And I always say this, in Gambian elections, a lot of factors determine how people vote. Some people will not vote for a candidate because the candidate did not visit their area. You understand? So these people try and make sure they were able to go to every area. And I think because Barrow and his camp felt they were underestimated, they didn't take chance. So for them, every vote was very much important to them. And for the first time also, I saw both the two first ladies had their campaign team and they were going out every day and they were on the campaign trail. So which also, I think, contributed a lot, because if you look at this year's elections, it is women and youths that really designed and decided the votes, because they are the majority of the people who were registered. But to go away from the scientific aspect of it and talk about, like what Malik said initially, and this I have said last week, because for me, I'm somebody who believes in divine destiny. You see, I've always said this. When you underestimate people, it's just like David and the Goliath. Because when you underestimate somebody and you look low upon them, and I've always said this, I think education is good, and I encourage everybody who has the opportunity to be educated to do so. But education alone is not the yardstick to being a successful person or being a great leader. And I think some of the candidates who had university education, probably because Barrow did not, they looked low upon him. And that was the reason why even they were pushing for the debate, because they wanted to use the debate to humiliate or expose his weaknesses. And Barrow, being so smart, he deliberately refused to go there because he knew their intentions was purposely to expose him, because you can see even a week or 2 weeks before even the debate, the way some of the supporters of other parties were laughing about it and were so much enthusiastic for that to happen. But the guy knew, and this I have said, Gambians don't vote based on policies. And that is some of the reasons why PDOS has not been making it that very much well.
I just want to chip in and ask about, what about that crowd? That crowd competition that happened the entire, 2 years in a row? You know, Uncle Jones, what happened to that crowd?
Let me just buttress what Malik said about women.
Yes.
The women constitute 547,718 of the people who registered, compared to the men of 416,439. It was the women. Women are the kingmakers in this country so far. Women and the youths. All right. You just touched on, if it didn't slip my mind, you said something that
The first ladies.
The first ladies.
No, the first lady. The first ladies was good.
Okay.
The first lady. I got you now. It was good that the first ladies made their presence there to be felt. They appealed to the women. Okay, and that was good, of course. All right. The campaign numbers. You see, there is a strategy that I think the UDP have to revisit and stop doing that. And that is importation of militants. When UDP has a rally in some area, they'll go and import their militants from different areas to come and hide the numbers, to create a number that does not exist in the vicinity or the constituency that they are holding the meeting. For example, in Sukuta, the crowd that they had in Sukuta was monumental. And I keep saying, calling the Honorable Osenu Dabo president. Yes, Honorable Osenu Dabo did say that that was a crowd that he has never seen before. Not knowing or having known even that the crowd was an imported crowd. That crowd came from somewhere else. That was not the Sukuta crowd. Those people don't live in Sukuta. The UDP were also fooled into the fact that what they saw on nomination day was a bigger crowd. But remember, they came before President Barrow.
Yes.
When President Barrow came out with that multitude of people and supporters, it changed the whole dynamics in how they think about the numbers. From that day, I said, President Adama Barrow has won the election. Because what they did, what UDP did after the nomination, they all went to the Independence Stadium. Now, if you go to the Independence Stadium, they will not allow you to fill the stands. It could be dangerous. So, and the stadium cannot take more than 25,000 people on the stands. Now, they cannot take more than 10,000 on the ground. Put that together, you're talking about 40,000. When Barrow came out with his people on the day of his nomination, it was a different ball game. I said to myself, the die is cast. Adama Barrow is our next president. And so it was, and so it be. So shall it be, and so shall it be.
Yes.
Yeah. Deba, when people say Gambia against UDP, do you believe in that?
No, I don't. I don't.
Okay.
I don't believe in that one.
For the first time, we differ now. We differ.
You will differ.
Yes, I will differ, but allow him to go on.
No,
Okay.
I don't believe it was Gambia against UDP. I think UDP had a wrong strategy. You see, the thing is, a lot of things happened from 1994 to 2016. There was so much division, there was so much polarization, both in politics and even at our communal levels. So, you see, I've always tell this to people. When you tell people God decides or God chooses leaders, some would say no, because God does not come to vote. Yes, physically he does not come to vote, but it is God who decides who the heart accepts. And because of what we went through, God knew Gambia needed a leader who is cool-headed, who has the temperament to accept a lot for us to move on from what we came from to another destination where we want to be, and that is to live peacefully within ourselves. And even whereas we have different political beliefs, yet still we can coexist peacefully. I can tell you, after post-Jammeh, if we had a leader who had a temperament closer to Jammeh, we would have seen an ethnic conflict in Gambia. Because I know, like, a lot of people who say Barrow did not do this, Barrow did not do that, he did not perform, he did not do that, but I've always disagreed on that. I've always said this. You see, if you look at Africa, most of the countries that move from dictatorship to or a military regime to a democratic process, that during the process of transition to stability, is either there is another coup comes in or there is always a conflict.
Okay.
And Gambia, we are lucky that for the past 5 years, yes, there have been certain issues up and down there, but which I think we were able to cruise through peacefully, not only because of we have a leader whose temperament is very calm, because no matter what, like the Olaf would say, you may disagree with Barrow, you may say a whole lot of things, but I can tell you the temperament that Barrow has. People will say, we gave ourselves democracy. But it was the same constitution that was here during Jammeh. You understand? Most of the people who, including myself, who what we are saying today, probably we could not have said it 6 years ago or 7 years ago. You understand? So, in as much as we voted for change, but also you need to have a political leadership that has the political will to nurture that democracy and encourage it. And that is what Barrow's government did. So what this election tells Gambians is, despite everything that happens in the past, a greater majority of Gambians wants us to move ahead and reconcile. You understand? And I think, like Malik said, you see, when you say this, I think UDP has a political party. They need to sit down and do a soul searching. And when they sit down to do that, they need to be honest between themselves and speak truth to each other. You see, there was a lot of crowd transportation from one region to another when it comes to political campaigns. And you see, this campaign, you can see when Barrow was crossing to the North Bank, he didn't go with the Gambian people who escorted him stopped at the terminal. He crossed over to North Bank. So all those people that were following him during the campaign were people from the North Bank. So you know these people were registered voters in North Bank and they were going to vote in there. But when you have a rally in Bogozon or you have a rally in Turkama and you are bringing people from Kiang, you are bringing people from Banibu or from Pasek or from Salum to come and support you, that might not necessarily reflect the amount of votes that you're going to have in Bakau, because most of those people are not registered voters in Bakau.
Bakau, yeah.
But another thing also that Gambians need to understand is, you see, majority of the people who go out there and vote, they did not have a university education. So as a candidate, if you come and stand in front of me and belittling somebody, talking low upon somebody because he does not have a university education, how about me who is going to vote that does not have a university education? How would I feel? I would feel the same. I would feel you are disrespecting me. You are looking low upon me. And I think that is what has happened to some of these candidates. Because you are going into a community where you have greater number of the people have never sat even in a classroom or they did not go to university. And you go out there and start bragging about, yes, there can be, somebody, you only need somebody with a university degree who can govern this country. Barrow is not educated. Barrow is this. Barrow is clueless. Barrow is that. But forgetting that, since 1965, most of 99.99% of our civil servants have been PhD holders. But what have they benefited Gambia apart from stealing our funds? Instead of corruption, that's all what they do. So if you are talking about people who have destroyed this country, you look at the educated class. They are the people who failed this country. So the people who you think don't know, and I think a lot of also our political analysts and our politicians underestimate the intelligence and the political maturity of the Gambian voters. Because Gambians have been voting since in the 60s. So the experience is there. And the people that you think don't know what the issues are, they know the issues better than you. Because I've said this, I've had an interview with Padre Ture of Star Event 3 months before the election, and I said this. I told him, look, this election is going to be, and I've been saying that almost for a year. I said the election is going to be between NPP and UDP. But NPP will edge out. And the reason why they're going to edge out is, you see, the people will complain about the power of the incumbents. I always want to throw us back to 1994, when there was change of government. What happened?
Okay, hold on to that thought. Jones. Mr. Jones.
I'm with you.
Yes. What some Gambians are saying, Gambians vote against Gambia against UDP. You said you you have a different thought. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, Gambians voted against the UDP. That was the pattern. Because some people in UDP even voted against themselves. They voted against their party. We may not be able to substantiate that by evidence, but the numbers speak for themselves. That number was just overwhelming. Now just look at the stats as we have them. And of course, you guys have seen this before. In Basse, 78.37%. In Janjambure, 68%. Wait, no, hang on. 74.82 in Basse. In Janjambure, 64%. In Mansa Concord, the deposit bank of Usainu Dabo, Barrow had 46. Dabo had their 22%. All right. We go to Kerewan, another stronghold of the UDP. 57% is what Barrow got. 26% by the UDP. You go to Brikama, 43% against 32%. You come to Kanifing, it was 49% against 48. That's too close to Caldo. You go to Banjul, 62% against what? 21%. That was overwhelming. That was a massacre. Where did those numbers come in? It means that some militants, some supporters of the UDP, when they went into the polling booth, changed their minds and said,
voted.
Why should I vote for this party who's got an ailing party leader? Why should I vote for a party that the leadership will soon be in crisis? Why should I vote for a party that when they come, I do not see things gelling into bringing Gambia as one people, but rather it is going to be divisive because of the message that was sent before. I'm sorry for my friends. Let's put the tribal thing out. Let's leave this Mandinka Fasa thing. But the Mandinka Fasa business was promulgated, was being echoed all over the place. And some people did not want to hear that. That was some of the problems that cost the UDP dearly. The tribal line cost them dearly. And some people, in as much as they are Mandinkas, will want to see a unified Gambia. We all go to the same funeral ceremonies, the same Christian ceremonies, nightclubs, the same social places. Why do we want to bring in this separation of the people based on tribal lines? So some people will say, no, not me. Even where I'm UDP, no, I will not subscribe to this, so I will not vote for the party. But the victory of Adama Barrow was decisive. And people voted because they want a oneness, a one Gambia. A Gambia that will look at the entire Gambian citizenry as one people, not to be divided.
Thank you.
For me, Gambia really voted against the UDP. They came out and voted for the UDP. They don't want to see a UDP government.
Before you go,
I think also, Bindo, I think also the party made another mistake was when they thought it wasn't a good idea to welcome APRC, but yet still they can have some APRC executive members, people who have served at a higher level at APRC during Jammeh's time, to be within their executives. And I think that also was a mistake, because I always said this: APRC as an institution, if they wanted to get rid of the party, the best opportunities, they had two opportunities to do that. I don't know for whatever reason, it did not happen. One was through the General Commission, because people, I always say, people say government should ban APRC. The government has no powers to ban APRC. It is the IEC that is mandated to register political parties. And IEC cannot also just jump and register a political party without tangible evidence. And I think the General Commission could have been an opportunity, or the TRRC. But in both those commissions, there was nowhere APRC has a political party, was indicted and linked to the institutionalization of some of the things that were happening during Jammeh's regime. Even though they supported Jammeh, they voted for him like a whole lot of Gambians who are today holding positions of power. And they missed out on that. So when they miss out on that, I think it was important that, yes, I believe there must be justice for certain crimes, but that should not withstand. You have the APRC supporters who are Gambians. So long as they did not commit any crime, you cannot stop them from exercising their constitutional right to participate actively in politics or to run for office. Because the same law that governs all of us is the same law that would bar anyone from participating either in politics or to be voted for. So for me, accepting some people because they came to you and you clap for them, but when they go to opponent camps, you start attacking them, I think also was a very bad strategy. And two, they make like Almami Tal gave an interview with Pandel today when he said they don't need the APRC because APRC base is only Fonyi. And even if you look at the numbers in Fonyi, it's not that big. But you see, what a lot of people forget is probably maybe 70 to 75% of the people living in the Combos originally came from rural Gambia. Because some of them, their great-grandparents or their grandparents migrated because of work or greener pasture to come to Combo, and they gave birth to their kids. Those people also gave, so it transcends to a generation and generation. But every Kombonka that you see in Combo has family ties in rural Gambia. And before you know that, let Tobaski comes or Korite or something happens, a fist happens. Combo is almost a ghost town. So if you, not forgetting that a lot of people who are from Fonyi, if you go around Talinding, Bundung, Abuko, Burfoot, Sanyang, they have a lot of family ties in Fonyi. So some of the things that you say might come back to haunt you later. And I think those are some of the mistakes that they did. And another mistake that they will not accept, but I think that's my view. I don't think it was the right thing for them to choose Honorable Hussein Dabo as a candidate.
Okay.
The reason why I said that is, if you look at statistics, because man, I'm a guy of numbers, and I always look at figures. I don't just speculate. From 1996 to 2011, in all the elections that UDP contested as a party, it's either their percentage point will go down or their numbers of votes that they gain in that election is going down. That's one. And two, I agree with what Malik said. I think when Dabo had that accident during the campaign, the best thing that UDP could have done was just to issue a press statement and forget about it. Okay. I think forcing him to come out to give that interview with Kirfatu was damaging. It was a bad PR for me because even if you don't know what was happening, but we all know who Dabo is. We know he's a very strong guy. When he communicates very well. He masters the English language very well. But you can see in his body language that very day, this guy is going through a whole lot.
Okay.
And he was trying to force to speak. I think that was a very bad PR, which also probably could have shifted the minds of a whole lot of undecided voters because they might not want to vote for a president who will be at State House, but the functions of the state would be done by maybe people that they did not entrust.
Okay. Daba, you're gonna stay with me a little longer, but Mr. Jones' time is past gone.
Overtime.
Overtime. But before you leave, what form of politics, or what do you think from 2016, politics should change? What do you think should change? And if you have any advice for President Barrow, elect president, what advice would you have for him? Because he's about to select his cabinet.
All right, that's interesting. What should change in our electoral system is that independent candidates, the money they pay should increase.
Okay.
They only ask them $10,000, whilst a newly formed political party is about what? $1 million. But it's $10,000 to run for an office as big as the office of the president. So ask the SR files and anybody independent candidate who wants to take part to pay maybe about $500,000. I think that will restrict us having these whatever kind of people, these unserious people. And secondly, I think we have to abide by the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, which also has a very significant part to play in who is qualified.
Oh, yep. Yes. His connection, but he will be up. Okay, this is what happened. Daba, that's the okay. I think he will be coming back. This is the graph. 1996. Okay, here he is. Hold on. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead, sir. Yes.
I hope I wasn't cut off. I saw something funny. All right.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is thank you. As long as we can change that, increase the amount for independent candidates, also strengthen the Independent Electoral Commission so that results can be tabulated as quickly as possible, because there was a long delay. The excuse that the IEC gave, which I understand, some people in Sukuta voted up to 10 p.m., but it wasn't only Sukuta that we were waiting for the results. There were other constituencies that the results have already been counted. It's not that it was by alphabetical order or it was coming chronologically. There were some constituencies that were already ready. So the announcement of results by the IEC, and also the polling stations are enough. The IEC should change their chairman as of now. Now, the man is an old man now. I think they need a new chairman of the IEC. And I had no problem with my dad. He's my dad, of course. But he's aged now. And I think he should be retired handsomely. Give him a couple of good millions.
I think by law, this is his last term, because the appointments of chairman and distinct members is based on term. I think this is his
time
last
limit.
Term.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is last term that he's going to serve as chairman.
Good. Okay, good.
All right. Now, to advise President Adama Barrow, I will tell him to look very seriously, one, into the security sector of this country. I want to be safe. You want to be safe. Your parents want to be safe. And we are not safe. Secondly, I want to see Gambian security personnel handle our security in our country. I have nothing against ECOMIG. ECOMIG is not what I'm talking about. But I don't want to go to State House and the last person who clears me to see my president is a Senegalese. I don't want to see that. That's me speaking personally. Mr. Johnson, for them. My name is not Mr. Johnson. My name is Jones. If you cannot call my name, call somebody else who can call my name. My name is Jones. Don't call me Johnson because you don't know the Jones and Johnson are different people. Sorry. No, call me Spirit. All right? Don't lie. The camera is still with you, man. So these are things that I really want to see some changes. I also want to see that the president looks into the 1997 Constitution. The 1997 Constitution is a very good constitution. We took 16 million and dropped it into the drain. But some people chop the money anyway, as they would say, chop my money.
It's 106 million. It's 106 million.
106 million.
Yes.
106 million. Man, it's way too much.
I thought it's 16 million.
It's 106 million.
That's too much.
Really?
I thought it's 16 million.
That's way too much.
That's what was
service
put in the question.
For service not delivered. For service not delivered. All right. I want the president to take the best draftsmen in the legal sector and give them the 1997 to redraft it. Okay? take it to the National Assembly, and work on it finally. It's got some very nice things. It's almost tailor-made for Jammeh. Let's remove what was good or what is bad and put in what is good there. And forget about that constitution of the CRC that has already been kept in the West bin. It's in the West bin, kept there under a lead. Forget about that one. 1997, brilliant constitution. Just work on it and bring it back to us. I want to see the president continue his development projects, especially in the urban area. He's done a lot in the URR, but when people come from outside, they come to the urban area. They want to see Serekunda decongested with traffic, number one. They want to see more jobs for youths of this country. The youths of the country want employment. Okay, we need that. I had in mind that probably, maybe somebody told me that president is thinking about it. Another port, not the Gambia Ports Authority in Banjul, but maybe a port in Katong all the way to Gunjur, which will open up the country. The congestion of traffic, people will be going to work in Katong, the country opens up. Let us look into the future. The Chinese are here, they're spending the dollars. Use them while the sun shines. I want to see that. I want the president to take a look at that. And I want the president to be all forgiving. Let us forget about punitive measures. The report of the TRRC must be looked into, and anything that is punitive there should be put aside. Anybody who's going to be given reparation, we do the reparations and we reconcile. And let's forget about retributive justice. It doesn't take us anywhere else. It is more of revenge. And that is not the Gambia we know. We want to see a compromising Gambia. People have done worse atrocities in 1981 during the coup d'etat, but it wasn't retributive justice at that time. It doesn't help any country to be retributive. It did not happen in Rwanda. Neither did it happen in Ghana. Ghana had a TRRC. They did not take people to the gallows and kill them. It was all about reparation and reconciliation. And it was on that note that I want to congratulate President Adama Barrow. And I wish that the hand of God is on his head to guide him to be able to take this country to where each and every Gambian, irrespective of the party that you support, will want to see this Gambia go through.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
We are. Thank you. If you have no other
Yeah. First of all, let me thank you as well to giving me the opportunity. It's been a long one though, for inviting me on your wonderful platform. We had our hitches before we were able to connect. We understand, but God granted this platform to take place. I saw a few chats come in. I was following on my phone. People have commented here and there, but all that we have said here should not be taken on partisan level. I'm speaking from my heart. What I want for my Mandinka brother, what I want for my Jola brother, what I want for my Akko brother, what I want for my Manjago brother, and what I want for my Wolof brother. I do not belong to any party. I serve the government of the day. If Barrow is here, I will serve him like I serve Jammeh and I serve Jawara. If another president comes in, I will serve that president. It's not the president, but it's the Gambia I'm serving. And who heads the Gambia? The President of the Republic. On that note, congratulations, President Adama Barrow. You gave them a good beating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Uncle, thank you. We are honored. Don't worry about the people that insult. Whoever they represent, they should take care of them. Now, we've been blocking them. We never tolerate that. We are sorry about that. But we appreciate you and we'll invite you once again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Wow. Wow. We have a good one. Wow. He's amazing. He's amazing. Yes. Daba.
Yes.
Daba saying a kacha local language la koto kenyi ya kata kutukatola. Nendirlal, wali ya continue la nendirola because minketa Gambian ol nyante fonya kamini represent they have to take drastic ni wante political party ila party tinyala. I'm telling you.
Ibatinya
kanne
because the truth is you cannot disrespect me and expect me to be friend with you.
I'm telling you.
I will never do that for anybody. Not even for a brother that I share the same father and mother. If you disrespect me, that's the end between me and you. I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Ngakola tanyi mol min kanendi rokete ye.
And then come for guy wala mo politic mo nyoya.
You need the numbers. Daba a few calls started ngana wrap up. Hello caller.
Assalamu alaikum Bintu.
Alaikum salam. Tony madam.
Andere mo Haji Toure mbe jamani.
Ibiri mintendan Toure.
Mballa programme wala moy kan abetiata bage mbe karankanne. Fana lafta diamula ni election o menketa election ko.
Okay. Bismillah.
Sakatuma URR ndebota jele. So lafta mem fola URR reason me age fo e Barrow vote. Amange komi tribal quote. Fenne keta passe me alongo anene mankije. So iko who feel it knows it. So URR ko ol patata nyamenna. President Barrow nata e ku jama le change URR ko liye. So pour moi so the politician so the wala opposition no. Pour ye URR ko la mind change ate easy la.
So it left after actually URR actually quartier di president because I development min kaliye.
Yeah, not only URR in Gambia in general. But yalong URR appointments or any opposition tema is too high.
Okay.
So mojama ka jube komi ka for URR I vote because of President Barrow Botajele amanke oti no. Because ndeta da Gambian ndeta URR 2 times. First time tara jenduta passenger moto le kono kabona passe kata koina. So ngaje cable patata moto kono nyame na silo tinyata nyame na sasa to be molbul moto kono all patata nyame na you know. So second time tada je na first time kabona mpase kata koina it take me 4 hours been 4 hours.
Okay.
Second time tada je ni private kale tata kabona mpase kata koina it take me 35 minutes.
Oh, so atol development nyindal alto trade la for nothing. Yes. Okay.
Exactly. Ofango lemu. So molte so nola. So UDP ngo little camera komi nimbota jana ni sara huloli asoto wala ni fuloli asoto ole mu URR ngo ya vote no. Ndeman songola de. Because hadamadingo ipatata men kono moyo bonde obata kono pour yo amari igno ate easy la you know.
Okay. Thank you brother. Thank you. Baraka.
Yeah, ndeme fola komi Gambian ole ndel be mo kilineti mandinka sara hulo fulo be mo kilineti you know. Ngana some politician only ye multivite and nyinga je mo lafta tribalism nat lana society kono ngadi amwaye in a nice way me alonko abe haklo sodola ate fentinyala mo la society kono you know.
Okay. Abaraka.
Yeah, ndi lafta ole fola Gambian ole abaraka bage no.
Abaraka. Thank you.
Okay.
Daba.
Yes.
Daba all the time nkanyi mutanna mine kono, but today I want to talk about it. Nendirlal nga ke topic tijanne nga panelolu kumande nga molu kumande different political parties nga molu kumande. But this is what I want to say. UDP patio. I'm telling y'all, alalla samato konko nga aliye bulana nyi mol no ma nyi nendirla jatol mini ke panke ko itolle nyi patio kanu. Ibe patio tinyakan. Député Carte Fayola Kana. Ni continue to nyina. Député Carte Fayo is very important for any political party. Yenana enani mol noma. Mini ye fanke mol ye jatoti and they are just behind keyboard. Nindani lota mbedo fongote, they will be scared. It's a problem. They need to come for these people. They need to come for them. They need to come for them.
Alabuka,
I mean it.
Tony Rolemon Betea, Yajane, more near a woman respect. Ye fan respect. Ite mondi bamane na wala ika wandi famane. Parce que ne wandi bamane. Ite hakilo bula ye bama min tu sokon. Ite wandi bama min nek. Mimba bulu wala de bama bulu. So any woman that you disrespect, you are disrespecting your mother. Ni alpha nek. For example, like the Imam of Gunjur. that namanke Imam Wotifan, but because of his age, hormone in bunyana janta diala. People, one thing that Gambians need to understand is you cannot force anybody to support any political party. What you can do is to try and talk to people gently and convince them. Because ndela brother for us no president yal. Okay, you go to Senegal. Parti ni just abe party players a ulu fa a fama ni ya wulu political party ba bulu bara na mantara po party ko na bebe koratili. So people need to understand it's not about Nendro, it's not about Kamo Kajafika, it's not about Kamola Ngaibo Bondi or to make yourself a victim. Is what is gonna give you votes. That is not gonna give you anything. I mean Kalamana Mabela Hajo Letinyala. And the model BJ, Mobe Bukanende. Billahi wa like our for Mobe Bukanende. Because don't BJ. Near Saljimutoke, yes, Suto, yes, Arakan Fulak Sally. Ye bulotli ala niya ala dani abakela because ibuka feni afo ibuka jenoke ibuka haramo domo andu ye toni la andu ala ko niya mo toni na ye duwa ke ala wo duwa mamutal ibuka mur. And I think this election is a clear example of Tony Roman Berea, because you cannot just be on social media insulting people's mother, insulting people like that is the only way it belong every day 24/7.
I am telling you, because ni media from molbe on ndangamra executive ol nyante la grand fenkol fenkala le kanyum mol tolta nyin diaspora nyol nendiro ye wala ke andu mobile nendrono.
No, but some of these people, you see my problem with some of these political or some of our political leaders. You understand? The reason why I have issues with some of them. I think they've been very much hypocritical. Because most of the time when you reach out to some of these people, especially some of the people in the executive, you tell them about this. They come in for a while and we have no control over these people. They are not part of the executive. But they contribute money. And the political party and the executive will accept these monies. You understand? They have political leaders. Their pictures on their profiles. When these political parties go out in the West, in the diaspora, they take pictures with them. They sit down with them. They talk with them. When they come to Gambia, they go to these same political party leaders, and they take pictures with them. They have discussions with them. Sometimes even some of these leaders will call them not commando or not general or not supporter or not militant. So you want to tell me the party has no influence over these people? They have influence over these people. So, and that is going to cost the party. It's just like what is happening to the Republican Party in America. Like, if they refuse, because they refuse to stand up against Trump and his supporters, we have seen what the repercussion is, and it's the same thing that happened in Gambia. I don't care about which political party that you support. I respect that because it's the constitution of the Gambia that guarantees the support of every citizen to have a political freedom to make a choice of who you support or not.
Okay, look.
But what I
the
cannot
funny thing is, they don't even use their real names. They are just terrible. You're calling yourself Good Luck Adama. It just does not make sense. You said that insult people.
No, it's only cow.
Alifali and Patio established since 1996. Dolu fangote baluring. Ye ni ole la nympati, yela investment ole di nympati la. Ila jata kende ya balia fango. They don't consider that. I told me sign. You trying to destroy this political party to be a legacy. I just cannot stand them. I can't stand them. But anyway,
they are the future of their political parties.
They destroyed the party that this old man worked for all his life.
Whether it's NRP, because they are the same people. They are the same people they are the generation that is going to inherit these political parties. If you don't want people to talk about your political party leader, then tell them to exit politics. Period. But so long as they are in politics, if Barrow is not in politics or he was not the president of the Gambia, I don't even have time to talk about him because what can he give me that God cannot give me? Nothing. But the reason why people will talk about him is because he is the president of the Gambia. So if you don't have the maturity to understand that what people are talking about has nothing to do with at personal level, but they are talking to him as the president of the Republic of the Gambia or as a party leader of NPP, then you have a problem. Because but you cannot stop people from talking. You understand?
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Kacha diata, kacha beteata analysis. Ni momo left the political, to be honest. He left the party to move on. Nko election o minkana is more. Well,
important.
President Tombo, ubuka kenna problem what? I'm telling you. But it signs I need konyo konga mo Tombo Combo East. Ibenta rabayeto. Because
parliamentary and local
government
elections are very, very much important. And it's sad that a lot of people ibuka importance because the National Assembly is mandated to be the institution that looks at what the central government does. The central government will only have a budget if the National Assembly comes and vote in that budget. And they have a right to scrutinize and bring in projects that would represent the aspirations of their people. You understand? So for me, that's why sometimes when people blame government for not doing this at the health sector or not doing this in terms of this, I said, look, the first point that we should query to is our National Assembly members who voted for this budget. Because if I'm a National Assembly member, last year, for example, we voted, and that is why when I believe Gambia needs to change the way our budget is presented at the National Assembly. Instead of the Minister of Finance coming to present the budget, I think it's important every ministry comes individually, the minister comes and defend their budget. Because if I give the Minister of Health, let's say maybe $300 million is last year, this year, if they come for me to vote for maybe 400 or 500 million, I'll ask them how much the money that we gave them last year was spent. And I'll make sure if they put in the budget that they were going to build 5 hospitals, I need proof to make sure that 5 hospitals was built. If it is not built, then I will not approve the budget of the minister. Unless and until that is clarified, that is understood, that is accounted for, we are not going to vote for them. So if every minister comes to the National Assembly to defend their budget and present their budget, I think that will go a long way in helping. But having the Minister of Finance come in one day, just speak for maybe 1 hour, go, then MPs will debate about this, the budget, but not looking at the previous budget that was allocated for, to make sure that everything that was estimated for was really spent on where it was supposed to. In situations that it was not, they need to ask questions, and I think the minister needs to come and justify the reason why that was not done. Without that, we are not going to approve your budget.
Nganyim caller tab, and then we end it here because next week you will be coming. Hello, caller. Caller? Ikamwe?
No, Mugamad.
Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Well, okay. All right. It's froze. The phone is froze with it. So, bro, thank you so much. Instead no jambi, kacha diata, kacha beteata. I
know.
Yeah, next Sunday, Daba will be here. Another team will be nalale. Yeah, and Davana be break talent. Davana President Eric. I invite la ngata team ngolo. Ngo yam promise le ni makinto wali yam promise le ko little with them bita ada femko team ngolo bare meje be man tam ko to
I know
me mo be tentula mbali jayila ntol we are going to analyze things me continue la le do ko wata bayala we gonna continue na brother betara jandaba another team next Sunday. Alkana miss it will be the bam because the analysis le dila la kotek ndebe tarra masingo dumale bare metara manam famba connect la no bare president Barrow congratulate ka fana manti ku kacha you know mbani ninkala but Daba thank you it's a audience so you can
Thank you so much.
Sana ngamuta ngasana muta malum fafa na State House lewa. You know. Sana.
Assalamu alaikum Binto.
Sana mbijan number query kam kori ye invite ko State House. Teaming what? Imante invite.
Ilalle takananga ilalun tango jele daba. La po kai kakadianye no.
Ila fan na.
Lafta de na dunta na sonta kita politician ode. Ay Gambia lon na political. So until later mala point mbare ngala fen ko nyim fla nyinginong. I was really expecting Puruke Lanyum program or Fenke, but Alaman na Fenke. But anyway, Malum for Malum Allah program or Munti for Allah time lebant and I wanted to contribute something.
Malek Jones parade science is a GBA cote.
Huh?
Say Malek Jones, sign them parade. It's a GBA cote.
Also, program of I wanted to contribute something.
Haninka felo ko yaro ne ko fly alaje Malek Jones. Nka fela benunjane.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a start ya jibe. Yeah, you can contribute. Come on. Ngeso 2 minutes le contribute then
okay, nte nata UDP la problem oni kafuko election oni amount fair. Nte de akuoda mata. Ya jintenga minje wale UDP. Come mo jama mean for overconfidence you always sort of know. So overconfidence mean way but and the back. And secondly, UDP nyanta me understand la. Nte min kadiam ni atren telem loya usienu dabo. Yandim beri sana mo jama be UDP anyante bailale. Because you know Gambia political, mo nyanta me understand walem. Mo jama be Gambia mi yalon ko nendroy malafi won. And the UDP wo fana ye batandi bakere because ntenga mo jama le contact ni nge nyinin kay be carte fay la jima fo mama kande ka mama kande ti win la adum nyin carte fayo kay baro ning dabo bare it's better nga de baro because UDP ko ni nata ko be siala. You understand? And dol come coming for political imami on yaji last time tinin ngafon unko nintelem UDP mistake first mistake ko dadame almami funding tal alini tata no fatu network lamin ja nyininka
okay sorry ha
alini tata no fatu network lamin ja nyininka kayko for albe parelim pour alni APRC ye coalition keban akay ko no ni APRC man diama kay ko so ni nata do ako ni nata si kacha bor if they mention ya jamme be baylale yaji political bu kadiam tenne because wo sifa ni asikeno do lafta nala mi yalon ko de like president jamme so nete o for de yemurndi komale so fana mu political ferolem you understand and second fana kabirin independent and this small party kabiri fenken reject no ye disqualified during nomination ngamoy la mo jama moy ka foka this briefcase party will not puruka join mola place la so isaje ko ni mo provoke ati sonna nala itea and president jamo president Barrow open the page for everybody and Gambia mo kana jutu mola ye mo jay mole soto so itol nyanda mimira la wolem hani ya tere tol nim Barrow mol kalale ni toli 60% Barrow 40% I APR soto I ning other parties also to independent automatically Barrow defeat le so ntenga moy no nga moy sedli aka foko janka kabira keta kabiru wino kata momon fintina imam me understand wole mo jama bije mi yalon ko they are pretending ko they are supporting them but they don't vote for them so imalla fika so ko ante mang UDP support so la na wol fane fanke ko tonyala mandiya but they don't want them to win so itali mi mira ko min so de ma wosoto de ndela nga fo bula yeta la nyin samba ko
ever since mbuga UDP ya nto ndam nyutra anyway so but UDP intanga katala ballonje molmini alon ko fay kananyum platform oto jen katala bije bar nendir la ni nga woli je wolbe nyim patiti nya msu foka kandile nyin nendir la
yeah, political for a mall nene. And you told Nata Kafoko what more Malafi just to join to call it to make any alliance with any party. Kafoko told we can make it. Because it will Kafo la Mojamambe diaspora coming for ala Hanale Nati Ibina Mola Palasol Tala. So with the confidence to it will Kafoko Baruma Mosoto. It be diaspora Mantara Gambia. Ibukata ground alto. Ite mimbe Facebook amin for carte file al mimbe uloko no buka mo mimbe Facebook wol ka sola minna mani boto masino e na kurango e tama itol ka wala nyini ni o sotoro abanta.
Yeah, thank you Sane, thank you Sane kumbe
but anyway abaraka ba so
yeah, thank you daba better rejana next week yeah daba mbatunga one more caller ta. Hello caller.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello, into Elimba.
Mijan Tony Mado.
Into Usman Nati Bakola, Sweden.
Yeah, Usman Ibrimintina. Bismillah. Something been a program pareta numbara fangal la call.
Yeah, exactly. No, Ndebe Muna. Yalong UDP. Despite more NPP support all the body. Yalong UDP, we are UDP Tinya. Pero da man fenke Gambian la. Gambian no useno da bokong. I'm fenke Gambian have nothing against him. But the people like Bamba Masnyol, Ibrahim Tarawal, Omol, or Kujamal Tinyade. Sila, especially Bamba Mas, the telephonota on social media. You see, Kagunjur Lansaro Benang, simply because they are supporting NPP. It am right to one. It am will better than Kuna better after Munava. It at a camp. Ibrahim Tarawale, Imam Olavan Turebenyamen. Almamba Gunjur, Kawata Kauneng, Kanim Fenke compare, Banyal Mumba Brikama. It am Mohormolti. And UDP executive Safalako, Wokuma Kongli Bukamoy, Ikamoyle, Kenyala Kasala. And Ikakin Mola Satramantra Kekamola. Camilo have nothing against Usenu Dabo, Walla, Bolda Mongotema, but Nimo Dantamol, Wolden Moltinia. Example otaba covering this man muye audio bondi wolu ko ibe Gambia janela covering keba ma diamata jumala sifa mo kote mama moy
kote we are new here we are new here
o mama kote na tara ket yeah na tara ket non teng before ni sifa te continue la ni groupe do be ñu buli ka fay ko bamba dinka aben ni tulo la ko to if in 30 seconds e ñaati xolal wol bu ko contentre ke balandiro trong ni sulata mo ne no mata yakije ni kawlu so manda balandiro pakete ko taraje man correct
bare la executive be plan dolu file I'm telling you ba file because the
exactly.
file kanana yeah
yo
ndede
mo sifalo mo betia
nene ndiro ke mbe to sa fela ngadi la executive for
exactly no wala bije
mbe tolu sa fela billa wala
yo Gambian kete nyawonya warin ka kebal hormone nge bunyale bari ka si platform to bawo be jam fari ika keba commande people like almamul wal mul alfal ikeneng yenne ko ngakate ditale mbadi lelal kane fande ne
thank you brother
okay binta barka ba ken ko contribute
thank you daba billahi ni ñu pare executive or pare iko they want to ninga fango mbe streaming na ninga tolje mbe tolbe chikala nga fo be la profile or no
the problem is what people fail to understand is Gambia is no more in a dictatorship. Gambia is in a very democratic situation right now, and anybody can get whatever information that you want, and especially now that we have even the Information Act, whereby citizens or journalists can go anywhere and request for a particular information in any department. So nothing hides now in Gambia. But you see, Alpha Dolbije, more Dolbije, I'm not for Alpha from because Alala Mobaka Keno didn't want as a Keno Kebat. Is a Moja Tamakan Bedokan, you be Jutulal. Or after it is Suto, it is Sino, the Lorin of the Alaba to come for Fanaek. It is a Sirinjana Iban Nenka. Ibe Haramo Domana. Why after Atanaman Haramo Doma, Ananaman Muliafo, Ananaman Genoki, Ananaman Ribado. So neither new way of blow low Alakan. Ale Dan Roque, Alabijumala Duala Dampo. So this is the thing, because there are certain people ise ko be ke no ite fen fola ibeta si la suto yeta si ye alaju
Aladan.
ye aladan anu ni aladan ala bakelan and this is something that nim fango manke Gambia la culture because ndol nga min long wala min dol bulu tala ngakara na wulu lal itol la kataka na nyoka ibeto la nyoka. And in Gambia, the reason why I don't believe in tribalism in Gambia, well, it's possible no, because if I'm more killing jele, ala mama mo manding kole, afana mo kasim kole, ala baring the futu kam floe, ala uncle do be futu kam manjago, ala sister do be futu kam akue. So as time goes on, because of the intermarriages, Gambia is so linked and so connected to the foreign core. That is the issue which decides this election. Because not come like it's tribalism. I don't believe these other parties will lose in all these regions across the country. So the reason why they lost is because the amount of militarism that is on social media out there, that fear in a lot of people who went out there to vote. Because people knew this election was going to be between two candidates, and that is Barrow and UDP. So because the fact that these people, they have so much militants who, look, these people have over 10 WhatsApp groups that are purposely for insult. And this is the fact. You can come the Imam of Gunjur, covering now my Bakar Kalawale Bandinkan. And then Yamin for covering the my phone, the phone comfort telephone. Nala Dani phone. You understand? So woman Imam Lamin Toure is not just an ordinary individual because he represents something. Because Imam Molem, another Islamic Supreme Council here, they are the Muslims. If you disrespect the religious leader, you think I'll listen to whatever you say. And you have thousands of Gambians here because Gambia two things that Gambians don't joke about. It's their culture and their faith. Whether you are a Christian or a Muslim or a pagan. Whatever you believe in, you hold it family. So maybe it's less than even 20 years. Abanna alfal nenkan, abenda wululal kajafila, abe kujamal folami alonko from amante tonyak.
They will rebrand. Exactly. Let me make something clear. Ndela janali nendiro ke mbalu block la ndamanta mo to savelan ko ngasa ba UDP executive alisina fo ko pinto rem report na UDP yambay ndamo time sort of
me I don't block people. I don't block people. Me since 2016 I've had tons and tons of insults, threats and everything. But for maybe if you don't know me, you meant a threatening. Nte hadama bintu dunia kola jam nte silata min.
And in what I'm saying that I have time for that. I don't have time. More from Lebinal no. Actually, a continent.
People who I grew up with, or if you ask my family members, they will tell you. I'm very stubborn. If you don't want me to do something, well, I try to force me to do that. For me, like a motive from a big I will not do it. And I will never disrespect anybody. But Tonya, because Ninta Fata Nakaburo Nta killing never Taralaji. Ni ala benyin kala hanim bama atenta mako inola wo kabroko. So Nta Lola Binyaka Fenia for Moe. Because Nta lafta la pulite content, while Nta lafta Palaso. Mote Palaso dealer no Hadama Dingola. Harji Mantara Mo Bulu. Hadama Dingo Hadama Dingla Harji Ada Alela Bulu. That's why when I see these people following politicians, if you can put for politicians or leaders, I can't just surprise them. Because what president, it can mean normal. If you can put Kotonya fire, what a function had you from Amantara Bulu, Sakoiti. Because more mean normal, I be called for it. Niwo moro se kenu mansati, tell about Dingona Mansati, while I have something Mansati. You understand? So sometimes these are some of the things Mialongo is holding back Africa because everybody is just looking out for him or herself. To the point like, Ibuka Hani Purka for Moe. Tell the person the truth. Now they come for but in 10 years' time, about Londako carry him in for your day. Tonyale, Manson Numbari is the truth. For example, today, Jamie, if you ask him, he will tell you. In 1994, in 1996, in 2006, he has sent people in his government. He has arrested people who were telling him the truth. bari bi kabla tata fa fota mansayala ani you want to see a clean the sitting equatorial Guinea. Look at even those guards who me alonko ni jamme ko tis ye pressure bi wala be sitting jankanje ibe celebrate kan they were dancing
ya jale ni commandment ke kara ako why you people keep attacking UDP all the time. These are the people we are talking about. It does not make any sense. You know, thank you so much.
All right, no problem.
Yeah,
All right, thank
all right. Butuo, next week, Albedawa Jala, Daba will be on the game with the team. Ndebetara masingo duma, mbetara state house, ngare in by, but ibuka, iborta unkotalo, ibuka, mbete normal, alkada worry, mbete normal. But mbe mobe kontra lambal tentu lambal jaila. Bye Daba, thank you so much.
All right, thanks man.
Mbe mobe tentu lambal jaila ngaso soto minketa okay, alimbat. Nga Malek Jones sambanang ala tentu na kachake jang ayala honest opinion ayala honest opinion alimbatu ba na pejo felaing aying sindi tema like me alone alimbatu nga nying fenka jang kola mpareta sola next week al samuruna kola sol please alimpareta next week we will be here next week please Betarajan next week. Dabahnin Timo Binalale. We will be here. Alimbat. Dabahnin Timo Betarajang. Next week Sunday. Betaraja bara betara duma. Betara mawarin duma. Alkana war yeah. Alimbat na frame or laftang tenkalaja. Okay. Ntolmu hadama dingollet. Okay. Ntol Binto Media Network nali kachal kejanne. Mampati choose tolbe mu Gambia dingol leti you know tolbe mu Gambia dingol Gambia la yurwa Gambia la peace Gambia wo wala tol sija mo bukan tol jojam bututu we volunteer aka volunteer lam kal alfan la kam volunteer nyamal kadunang and we are grateful so mbe mol sambala namba kachakela don't tell the results only analysis way fenke because they lose it's okay. But near Lamo Vanessa, I just Dala sitting on another time. Results or Jamila results, or we've been reading about those all his life. Jawara results, or we were reading them Fabant, and still we are reading them. So this analysis will always continue. But in Bina national issue or Samalana. The political party will be trial ke giving the time dealer for yonding, they will come back. They will come back and talk to us. So Allah barakam nendirla ali sabar ala solfiring. I'm telling you, Allah ali sabar. We are better than that. They brought us better than that. But I had a madingo tolka diamo dorona kejan ninga me offend ali yamfanye. Silakoteng, we will try to do better. We grow a little by little. We are growing. So we are growing with you. No brotherly, mother and Body and can't misled it. But thank you for coming back. Adela na class prefect. Allah baraka nga. Samba, thank you. Allah baraka. You on bedan na jang. Allah baraka. Allah baraka. Thank you. Alin information or share is good. Me na alfa tentulamba jaila. Allah barak. Thank you.